This is your announcer, Shannon Saint Mainframe, welcoming you to our IP Livecast. Columbus Day is coming up, and in honor of the occasion, Rob has been binge-watching old Sopranos episodes. It's all fun and games, until he starts trying to cram gabagool into my USB drive. No means no, Robert. Our IP Livecast starts now.
Wow, sounds like Shannon got a little gabagool thrown in her drive while she was recording that intro.
Is that what it sounds like when you get gabagooled? I never...
Gabagool! I personally, I honestly not that crazy about the gabagool.
It's not my favorite of the Italian meats.
Agreed. In
It's
general,
a solid.
it has to be, like, I've only really enjoyed the Italian meats at, like, a fancy Italian restaurant when it's, like, super fresh. It's ever at the deli. I'm always disappointed. Coming from Eastern European cured meats, I always prefer those.
Is it because you get the boar's head gabagool? Is that why? Maybe because boar's head we know is horrible.
Yeah, you got to go to like a true Italian deli and get that.
Yeah, like even like a true Italian. I guess so. My favorite cold cut would be a variation on salami or a soppressata. And I just remember anytime going to an Italian deli, getting the soppressata, being Dusty Rhodes Buffler shooting him hard and heavy right at the top of the show. Italian Meats is Rob's favorite porn site. You know, not enough Italian gay porn outlets. I have to say, I can't think of any off the top of my head.
I was gonna say the opposite. I wouldn't. I mean, I could be way off on this. I wouldn't think you were mainly attracted to Italian men. I wouldn't think that would be up your.
Why?
alley.
They're within my dark hair, dark complexion. Thing.
Just not Fabio.
He's
Fabio doesn't have
butch.
dark hair.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I said just not Fabio.
Oh yeah.
Isn't he too butch anyway, Fabio?
Is he butch? I mean, he's sort of butch, but then like the hair and I don't know. He has his facial features are very feminine to me.
Well, he's a thespian, Sid. He's
Is that what he is?
He's portraying an image to sell books. I think he's a very manly man, but they put him in, hey, you pay me the money, I will do this. You know? Whatever.
But yes, I've always been disappointed by soppressata, sweet or spicy.
Oh.
And in general, it's I prefer Russian or Polish cold cuts,
Prosciutto?
or like not crazy about it. I like the thing about it is it's too
Mortadelle?
rubbery. The only mortadelle I like because
Not a fan.
it's mortadello is like the closest thing to a little Dr. Skaya. Yeah,
it's
Dr.
Italian
Skaya.
bologna,
So it's fine.
Good for me.
which is Rob's second favorite porn site.
I just think that it's too greasy Italian cold cut. I always find that they're like I prefer a drier.
Just make it
drier
clear
cold
you're
cut than
talking
a
about
greasier.
cold cuts and not the Italian people when you say that.
Yeah, no. I like a greasy Italian man. Don't get me wrong, but a greasy Italian cold cut, not so much.
It's just a lot of times it's like, yeah, the Russian meats are like, I would say the difference is they're moist. Like they're not completely dry, but they're more, they're on the moist side. While the Italians,
because they drop them on a sewer grate before serving them to you.
Oh, not fresh.
That's right.
There's this Polish deli by me, and they smoke their own meats. I'm leaving myself open for that one. I know,
This is
but
such innuendo-laden dialogue here.
but it really makes all the difference. It's very exciting. Like on the, some mornings waking up and the whole block just smells like cold cuts, but in a good way. I don't know. It just
The
has
best
that
part of
smoke
waking
smell.
up is
Smoke
Dr.
kielbasa,
Skaya.
you know?
God.
Spanish meats are good. I've enjoyed a good chorizo.
Yeah.
But it's I'm not. It's more of a going out kind of thing.
And
I
it's
wouldn't
also
keep.
the Latinos tend to not serve their meats in cold cut style. It's
Right.
in dishes and stuff like that.
You get a
nice-
good torta with some ham.
Mm-hmm. Or bistec encebollado.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
They
We're
don't fuck
kicking
around
things off with
this.
important meat discussions here, folks.
We're going to have a nice,
I feel
important
like
meat
it.
discussion with my music pick.
Oh.
Very attractive woman,
Now.
in my opinion.
R.I.P. a lady.
I've been rewatching the Larry Sanders Show on HBO, which is a timeless classic. And it still holds up, and like even the story points are still relevant today. Like one of them is just one of the earliest episodes is just about doing a on-air sponsor read and how much Larry doesn't want to do it. But anyway, I've just found myself subconsciously saying, "Hey now."
Yeah.
Ever since.
I never stopped. I haven't watched that show probably in 10 years, one episode, and I still say, "Hey now."
It's so fucking good.
Was Trump on that show? Was he? I'm trying.
I think so.
For some reason, my brain's telling me Trump was on.
You're thinking David Duchovny.
Same guy.
Yeah, more or less.
Confuse the two.
I don't mean a regular on the show. I mean, was he on Larry Sanders' in universe show? I thought maybe, but
no,
could be wrong.
Wu-Tang was.
I don't remember that.
It was from maybe the last season, probably.
I definitely need to watch it. I was recently watched It's Gary Shandling's show, which I loved. The original.
Oh, is it on YouTube?
I think I saw it was just clips. Like I wasn't watching it. I just came across a clip, and I like made me want to dive back into that. I don't know where it's streaming.
One thing I really enjoy about that show is just he's a very unique protagonist. I feel like you don't really have like you're rooting for him, but he's a very troubled soul.
He's aloof.
Yeah.
See, the first anti-hero to lead a TV show, is that the first time? He's the prototypical Walter White.
Yeah, or even Seinfeld, kind of.
Yeah, I could see that.
But more likable than Seinfeld characters.
Well, I feel like Jerry Seinfeld's character on Seinfeld, he never made himself look that bad. I feel like Gary Shandling, even though his persona is he's more vain, he definitely was more self-deprecating on Larry Sanders.
100% agree.
Jerry was
Larry Sanders, right? That's true. Larry Sanders, in general, is a very flawed person, and he exposes those flaws in every episode, which I love to watch.
While Jerry
Seinfeld was that. Yeah, like
Jerry Seinfeld, both the character and the actor are very narcissistic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
never admit they had flaws at all.
But right, exactly. They don't. The show doesn't mock that much. I guess Elaine kind of rips on him a little, but
the most Seinfeld-y thing that they made fun of on Seinfeld was that what a neat freak he was.
Yes.
Which is like, that's like my worst quality is how focused I am on my work. It's that kind of thing where it's like, it's not actually a bad thing.
It's the interview question. What's the worst thing about you?
Yeah.
Also that he can't keep a girlfriend. He just has to keep dating all these beautiful women.
Yeah, exactly.
I just can't keep a girlfriend. I have too many of them, and I'm just so attractive. I don't know.
They're all models.
And I'm too picky. Yeah, I just reject models all the time.
Yeah. They were all too old. That was the issue we learned later.
We've all been there.
Yeah, just once he got around the 16, 17 area, then he was fine. He found a love mate.
He just started hanging out on the set of Blossom. He finally found his soulmate.
It is real. Like for some of our younger listeners, it's crazy to look back at how the media covered the moment that he was dating, I believe, a high school senior, a 17-year-old.
They met it was a grooming situation. They met when she was 17, I think, and then when they started dating, she was 18. He waited.
Is that even? I feel like you're wrong. I feel like they were dating before she turned 18.
Howard Stern was talking about it straight through at the time. Like,
and Seinfeld stopped talking to him, stopped going on his show. It was like a real thing back then.
Like, come on,
Stern was like the only one giving him shit for it.
Right. You gotta wait.
The newspapers and like the tabloids would cover it, but just in a look at Jerry's hot young thing, kind of like this isn't a big deal. But
it's just because everyone loves. I cannot explain to. I'm in school now, and I'm in class with like 20, 21 years, and they all love Seinfeld. Like it's like a thing. It is film students. I don't know if I went to like the business school part that they would care about Seinfeld, but they appreciate older things. They tend to, but they all love Seinfeld. And I've had a couple of conversations with people, and they don't know that the guy was like a groomer. It's not even in the public consciousness.
It's very underreported, I feel.
Yeah.
I see. So he saw her on a bench in Central Park.
Oh my God.
and approached her and gave her, and the two hit it off. And Shoshana Lowenstein is her name, agreed to give Seinfeld her number. Seinfeld adamant the relationship did not begin in terms of being romantic and sexual until she turned 18. Which still, it's like, okay, so they went out on a few lunches.
But it's true.
It somehow, in a sense, makes it more creepy to me.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But yeah,
why.
like exactly. I was just gonna say the same thing. Like, so what does that matter? It's
right.
You know, like she's not mature enough to have sex now, but in 2
2
weeks,
months
she'll be she'll be just ripe enough for me to bust in that
to give it a gabagool.
Yeah, you know, like they have a great a Stern line in here. After Lowenstein turned 18, Lowenstein, why do I keep calling her Lowenstein? Lowenstein turned 18. Seinfeld appeared on the Howard Stern show, and Stern, in his typically confrontational manner, attempted to address the rumors. He joked, "So you sit in Central Park and have a candy bar on a string and pull it when the girls come?"
Howard, it wasn't a candy bar. All right, it was a Zagnuts.
He said Seinfeld later appeared on the Stern Show and said, "I didn't realize she was so young. This is the only girl I went out with who was that young. I wasn't dating her. We went to a restaurant and that was it." Oh, okay, yeah.
And then I had a relationship with her for 5 straight years.
Yeah, and then also, like, isn't his wife 20 years younger than him or whatever?
Now?
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I think they're about the same age or close.
But even still,
but she was married when she met him, and he broke up her marriage.
Homewrecker. By the way,
always something.
What's that excuse? I didn't know she was 17. Okay, but then she told you, and then you anyway.
Eventually you found out.
What excuse is that?
I am not an idiot, Seinfeld said. Shoshana is a person, not an age. She's extremely bright, funny, sharp, very alert. We just get along. You can hear her click. Yeah, I'm sure it was
very
it was
alert. So he's bragging that he didn't hook up with her while she was asleep. What is that? Very alert. What does that mean?
Even after the roofies.
Are most 17-year-olds not alert? What? What a strange thing to throw in there.
She passed the breathalyzer. It's fine.
I yell out, "Shoshana, come!" and she comes.
She does it.
Shoshana, stay, and she stays. Shoshana, place, and she goes to place.
I don't know. You can't find a 30-year-old that's alert? I'm just saying.
So strange. So strange.
She's great at finger painting.
Much like your classmates, Darren, I've very much been enjoying classic sitcoms. I've been going through Frasier, as I've mentioned on the show before, but I've went from just bouncing around to random episodes to now just sequentially watching the show.
That's a lot to plow through, man.
Well, it's not. I'm not like under a deadline. It's just when I have nothing to watch. It's like a 20-minute. It's a very easy commitment. 20.
And then are you going to dig into the new season, the reboot?
Oh yeah.
I watched the trailer, and because I now consider myself a Frasier head.
Oh my god!
I have a lot of problems with the new series. Number one, my favorite character isn't on it. Niles, he's the best one. Like, I think I mentioned on here before, I would always be so annoyed when the actor who portrayed Niles,
David Hyde Pierce
would win Best Supporting Actor every year, and I'm like, why the hell does this guy keep it? Like, this is so annoying. I want so and so to win or whatever.
Now you see it,
and now that I've won, I'm like, oh yeah, like he's
great.
He is so great at playing that character. He's so great at playing the character. I even understand why he hasn't had much of a career after this show, because
I think he did like Broadway more, right?
Oh, did he? Okay,
but he had to.
I remember he was.
Yeah,
like
he was in Wet Hot American Summer.
Yeah,
that was like the first thing after Frasier that I saw him in.
And he's still Niles in that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sort of, yeah. He's just great at playing a sissy, and I say that with as the highest compliment.
He's a fop. He's foppish. So Rob and I were talking about Cheers because that's one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, I started watching a few as well, and it's great. Maybe at some points even with more heart. It has more heart, but like Frasier's more farcical, I think.
Oh yeah, sure. I never liked Frasier as much, although I appreciate the performances. It just doesn't like resonate with me as much. I don't like the people as much. But I was wondering, which did you like better of those two shows?
Well, I can't really say. I haven't watched as much Cheers.
Oh, I thought you watched the whole thing.
No. I've only Cheers. I've only jumped around. I looked up, most notable episodes or whatever. I watched like maybe 20 episodes. So I've watched far more Frasier. What I love about Frasier, though, is you're right. Frasier himself, the character Frasier, annoying. Like, I hate him. Not a good character. Terrible person. But the show acknowledges he is a terrible person, and the joke is always on Frasier. It's the only, and there's no other sitcom of that time, I feel, that was like that, where the main character was always the butt of the joke. The only thing I can compare it to is Curb Your Enthusiasm. It's essentially the same archetype as Larry David,
but he even wins occasionally on that show.
Right.
But what about The Simpsons? That's kind of the same thing.
Okay, that's fair. Yes, he is very Homer-esque, but it's from a different viewpoint, because Homer is an everyman, and Frasier tries to portray himself as above the everyman. But
there's always a fine line for me with that kind of show, because there's some that I will like where everyone's supposed to be annoying and the show is in on them being annoying, like Seinfeld is like that. I love Seinfeld, and The Simpsons is kind of like that. And then I really can't stand Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and Frasier is kind of like off. Like here, I enjoy it, but I'm not gonna be a Frasier file, So it has to be done perfectly for me to enjoy that kind of show. I know enough annoying people, you know what I mean? Give me something to grab onto that's gonna make me want to dive into the deep end of this pool with more annoying people.
And the newest show in my sitcom rotation is Living Single, which still holds up. Great show, show. Yeah, every character very well defined.
Is Sinclair your favorite?
I was a big Sinclair head growing up for sure, but as an adult, I'm a big Max guy. Max and Kyle, like their dynamic of having sexual tension while hating each other's guts. I'm into
Sam and Diane.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of Kim Fields because when I was a kid, I had a big crush on her.
Oh my God. Yeah, same.
Facts of Life was on. She's probably like 2 years older than me. So when I watched the Facts of Life, I was like, oh my God, this is my new wife, and then
4.
Oh, okay. So she's 5 years older than me. But she was playing younger, I guess, in that show. So it felt like she was in the next.
You grew up with her, basically.
Yeah. And she disappeared, kind of. She did the Facts of Life, and then she really wasn't in anything. And then, boom! All of a sudden, she's in Living Single, and I'm not aware of anything she did in between. And I was like, oh my God, I still want to marry this woman. Now I'm an adult.
And so
she plays this very sultry, exactly, like horny woman.
Yeah. And she filled out quite a bit, too.
Yeah, and that was 93, 94. That was still like early 90s.
1920.
So very, very fun time. It's very nostalgic. Just watching the intro just brings me back to school nights when I finishing my homework and watching that show.
I feel like that show should have been a bigger hit than it was. I think it was like sort of niche to the Black audience a lot, and it should have been like a wider hit. I thought.
Agreed.
Great show.
Well, there's the kind of criticism of Friends that they essentially ripped off the idea and that just
improved it.
White.
Yeah. Which one was first though? Friends was
Living Single was first.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying that Living Single ripped off Friends, which I would have thought Living Single.
No, the other way around.
Honestly, if you didn't just tell me that. Oh well, then they deproved it because Living Single is way better.
Yeah, Living Single had very farcical moments, and everyone, it's all about having well-defined characters that, when you put them in a certain situation, as an audience member, knowing these people's personalities, you can see how the comedy is about to go down. It's almost like booking a wrestling show.
That's fine. Keep it simple. TV. Not every show has to be The Wire or Breaking Bad. Just have dumb farcical shows.
Yeah, because you only have 20 minutes. So It's nice, little bite size. I'm really getting the value out of Hulu, out of not my own Hulu subscription.
Whose is it?
It's my boyfriend's sister's.
Okay. Give credit where credit's due. That's all I'm saying.
Bless her heart. Well, we did a trade. We did a trade. I give her my Peacock and.
Oh my
Beg your
God, that's
pardon?
inappropriate.
The streaming service, please.
Show title. I give her my Peacock.
Done.
Sid, you said something just now that took me back to my childhood days. You said, "Whose is it?" And I had you're gonna laugh about this, but I had an Albanian family who lived in my building, and the mother, the father was like from the country of the city of Albania, like the big city, whatever they have over there. But the mother was like straight up backwoods, like bit just literally off the farm and
Damn
drinking
Albanian
well water,
hillbillies.
So I would knock on the door and she would just say, "Whose is it?" That was my mother and I started saying, "Whose is it?" Like whenever that phrase would come up. There was another thing I would go down to because the guy was the super too, by the way. So I would go knock on the door and I would say, "Is Sam here?" He hadn't Americanized his name to Sam, and she goes, "In basement," and shut the door in my face. Just, in basement. Whose is it? And in basement. Those were the two phrases.
And that's the only two you ever heard from her.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's like, yeah, you would hear her speaking in her native tongue a lot, but not, when she would. That's the only two things she would say in English.
My super was Turkish, and he called himself Bob.
Oh, I think the landlords
Parallel
make them do that, like to relate to the people and like not to sound foreign. We have very racist landlords.
Yeah.
My current super,
now
I got
the super in that building is like the nephew of the original super, so they keep it in the family.
My super here, I don't want to derail the show because we've got a lot of stuff to get to, but I have some like he is a great, like a funny guy, legitimately funny, not a laugh at kind of guy, like terrific guys from Montenegro, and we should probably do a Patreon episode just from things I can tell you about.
Oh wow, okay.
He's so funny. His name is Rudy. And he's just hilarious.
Interesting.
He loves the Mets. He came here like probably 25 years ago and just, I love the Mets. The Mets. He's like this, Do
you talk to him about it?
Fucking Yankees. Fuck. I'm glad they fucking lose. Every time I see, like, if I happen to bump into him the day that the Yankees lost a big game or they were eliminated from the season or the playoffs, fucking high five. Yankees fucking suck. Oh, okay.
That's awesome.
Cool. Yeah, Mets, man. Next year we're going to fucking Houston. So angry, but in a good way.
How does he feel about Buck Showalter?
I haven't spoken to him since, we haven't really spoken to, like, he's very busy and I got school. I don't bump into him as much.
He's always in basement.
I haven't talked to Mets, like, drilling down into details with him. Well, sometimes we'll say, "Hey, did you see that game?" And then we'll walk past each other. So I should ask him how he feels about Buck.
Here's the thing. I know we've talked often about doing like Patreon episodes where it's just me and Darren talking about sports. If you can get your super to be third mic on one of those, I will sign up.
Like a call-in guest. Sure. I would love. Oh my god.
No, he needs to be sitting next to you.
Oh man, I mean, I try to get him to paint things in my apartment. He's like, too busy. I got to do everything.
God.
So I don't know if he'll have time for a podcast.
That's
when he's
maybe if he ever shows up to paint, we could just start recording, and while he's painting, you could just ask him Mets questions, and he'll.
I need this area of the wall next to my camera painted. Yeah. Can you do that, please, Rudy?
And just stick a mic into the paint roller.
The whole episode.
That's a different bonus episode.
Yeah, say something in your room, like you said, and then you would say like, "Oh, I'm just talking to my friend about the Mets. Have you watched?" And then just like casually get him in the conversation.
Yeah. Or about the Yankees would be even better. She turns into the Iron Sheik, basically. Fuck the motherfucking Yankees.
All right. Well, we do have a bunch of stories to get to. I wanted to check in on something we discussed many moons ago that I've almost forgotten about, but there's been new activity, and that is with interesting subject of Lord Miles. You might remember a few months ago, I mentioned this British YouTuber who legally changed his name to be Lord Miles. decided to move to Afghanistan to prove that it's safe to live there. And you may recall he once came to Brooklyn and to New York to visit and said that he felt safer in Afghanistan than this area of Brooklyn. And the screenshot that he showed was of the area that Sid lives in, which is like one of the least crime-ridden parts of Brooklyn. Like, if you're going to make that point, that is maybe the worst area. Some of the highest value property in Brooklyn is in that area. So, not quite the point to make. Anyway, he moved to Afghanistan, and he had been tweeting about living there, and then I guess there's been revolutions and all this stuff going down, and then
you guess there's been revolutions in Afghanistan.
Yeah, I guess
the jury's still out.
And he was tweeting about how he had to like run and get safety, and he couldn't get out of the country. But then he was like, "Oh, I'm fine now. It's great. Everything's great." But then then things went dark, and people were like, "Uh-oh, is he dead? What's going on?" And you might recall when we discussed this on our show, one thing Sid, I remember you saying, is like, "Rob, you better put your alerts on for Twitter." And I let you know, Sid, they're already on. So that whenever Lord Miles were to tweet again, I would get a notification. Well, this week, I got that notification. Awesome. And while I was very surprised, I cannot tell you with full certainty if Lord Miles is alive or dead, because so far there's not been any concrete proof that he's alive, meaning a new photo or video or something like that. Essentially, what's happened is somebody claiming to be a friend of his has taken over the account to say that he is alive and that, like, in a few days everything will be proved. But then a few days pass and nothing. And in 2 weeks we're going to show you. And also, the tweets are written in such a way where you can assume the person writing them is not somebody who speaks English as their first language.
So it's like Grand Theft Auto 6 being released. It's just we got 2 weeks. We're gonna have some
yeah.
The cynical conspiratorial side of Twitter is also being like, well, this could also just be a bit that he's doing. This could still be him writing in broken English or whatever, or he could be dead and somebody figured out his password and is doing this, or he could be dead and the Taliban has access to his phone and is tweeting from his phone. And I
interrupt you for a second? Sorry.
Sure.
Why would the Taliban care like this much?
Right. Why would the Taliban care? Because Lord Miles had, no longer, as of this week, had a Patreon where he was soliciting supporters to send him money. And so why would the Taliban care? They could be using his account to get people to send them money, essentially. The thing is that that Patreon shut down the account, obviously, because, I don't know, something about a Patreon account, potentially Patreon money going to a terrorist organization, doesn't quite work for them. So they shut it down. So it was interesting. So the Lord Miles account tweeted, "Hey, Miles' Patreon got suspended for association with terrorists, but we're appealing it. Patreon is being stupid." Miles had a lot of money in the account, so if you've received a refund, kindly contact us to resend it through other means. Miles was pooling several months' worth of donations, but now it's all gone thanks to Patreon. You made a man in You made a man in Taliban prison lose several grand over being associated with the Taliban. They aren't even a terrorist organization, so what's up with that? Just stupid.
What kind of content was on his Patreon? Was he doing like watch-alongs of movies like we do, or like old links?
I'm not quite sure. I never went. So
Taliban Hall of Fame episodes.
He had a terrorist organization draft.
I was of the.
Muhammad Atta, number one pick. You can't take Bin Laden. Bin Laden's you can't use Hall of Fame.
Damn it! Fine. I guess that would be like a cheat. He's just too good.
So they're claiming that there's government agents restricting them from posting photos for his safety, and all these excuses. So I was of the belief that he's gone. He's long been dead. And that was until somebody who I can't quite say he's a friend of mine.
Oh,
but
no.
he is a good acquaintance of mine.
Is his name
who is
Pepe?
also he's also a YouTube celebrity, Justin Wang. I've had him on Squared Circle Pit, and he tweeted that I know this is the same shit everyone says, and nobody believes it, but Miles is alive, and I can't say how I know. Now, I don't think that my acquaintance, like I'm being careful not to call him my friend because I don't think, like, I consider him a friend. I don't know if he considers me a friend. We run into each other at shows here in New York. We say hi to each other. We have a conversation.
And he's friends with Lord Miles?
So he says that he has gotten some sort of proof that he can't say what it is, that Lord Miles is alive. So I would
call him up right now. Get this guy on the phone.
I would tell he doesn't want to talk about it.
He tweeted about it. What do you mean he doesn't want to talk about it?
He says, dude, proof or it's a scam. And then somebody says, proof or it's a scam. And he responds, I never would have believed it if I didn't see what I saw. So I won't hold it against anyone who thinks I'm lying. And then, you know, like, I don't think this is somebody who would take money from the Taliban. I don't think this is somebody who's compromised. He's just he's a YouTuber who likes weird shit. So I would
what is that?
I would you know, like, I don't think he would ruin his reputation over this. He's also the guitarist of the band Jinx, JYNX. So that's a very interesting twist on the story, because here I am being like, oh no, this is over, but I guess there's some string of evidence keeping my interest only slightly piqued.
Yeah, because like whether he's alive or dead, does it really matter?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, my life isn't affected either way.
Yeah.
This is just a funny story.
Yeah. He's just some dude. I can understand the Taliban not wanting the rest of the world to think he's dead, though, because then they would be admitting to killing a foreign citizen, which could get them blowback. So they might want to weekend at Bernie's this situation for a while, I guess. But I doubt even the UK really cares that much. They're like, whatever, fine, you have him, have his bones.
I mean, this guy kind of seems like a turd. So
yeah,
I don't
like, yeah. All right. I guess if you see any further tweets with more evidence, you keep us posted.
I was close to turning my alerts off until I saw that tweet.
Never.
And now I'm like, no, I gotta see this through.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say this off the air, but I'll give you Ayman Al-Zawahiri and a number 6 pick for the Unabomber.
That's not bad. Now wait, number 6 in the first round or your 6th round pick?
No, number 6 in the first round.
Ooh, yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, cool. We'll set that up later by email.
There probably is like a terrorist fantasy league out there somewhere on the dark web. You can get in on that.
Just want that Unabomber in my starting lineup, bro.
It can't be a keeper league though, because these guys die too quickly.
Right.
There's no point. Exactly. It would just be very frustrating. You think you've got this hot up and coming terrorist, and then all of a sudden the FBI fucking drones them, and then
that's a waste. That's part of the game, though. You know,
I'm building my whole team around that guy.
It's like the IL. You know, you gotta. We have IL spots for guys that it's the FBI most wanted spot.
Okay.
While they're in prison,
the contract lasts through the prison stay. Okay.
Yeah. And you can keep them rostered without using a spot on them.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Well, so that's the Lord Miles update for the day.
Thank you.
And then we have another big story from around the globe that I'd like to share. This is a story from our neighbors to the south in Florida. A woman is suing Disney for $50,000 over Injurious Wedgie on a water slide at Typhoon Lagoon in a birthday trip gone wrong.
What?
Did you ever get a wedgie so bad that it injured you?
No, thankfully not.
Now, this isn't just a kooky headline. She was, in fact, seriously messed up.
Pixar, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
A woman is seeking a hefty sum of money from the House of Mouse.
I've seen that. The Post writes that when they talk about Disney World.
In a recent lawsuit following an unpleasant trip down a water slide at Disney's Typhoon Lagoon,
I'll say,
that resulted in an injurious wedgie. In a lawsuit filed on Wednesday in Orange County, Florida, Emma and Edward McGinnis said that they are seeking $50,000 in damages from Disney World from injuries from a 2019 visit to the resort's popular water park. The lawsuit details Emma's painful trip down the Humunga Cowabunga slide, which consists of 3 body tubes totaling 214 feet in length. The ride ends in a nearly 5-story plummet in the dark at nearly 40 miles an hour into the pool.
Sounds great.
The plaintiff said she was at the water park for her 30th birthday. Well, there's your problem right there, lady. And she was wearing a one-piece bathing suit when she embarked on her fateful trip. Emma alleged that Disney did not explain why safety protocols such as crossing one's leg were necessary and that women would be at greater risk for injuries due to their anatomy and their swimwear. Uh-oh.
I would think that the opposite. If I'm not a doctor, but I think you got more junk down there, you're more in trouble, you know? Like if you're a man, wouldn't the penis flapping around be more?
Well, let's see what the injury was.
Yeah, that's true.
When the rider of the slide reached the bottom of the ride and traveled into the pool of water designed to stop further travel, the force of water can push loose garments into a person's anatomy, an event known as a wedgie.
Are you serious? That's what it says? An event known as wow. Okay.
Because of a woman's anatomy, the risk of a painful wedgie is more common and more serious than it is for a man. That makes sense. The junk is essentially blocking the material from creating a wedgie.
It's a junk shield.
Yes, it is almost like a cup. Natural cup. The lawsuit continues saying Emma's injury, which categorizes the experience as an injurious wedgie, could have been avoided if Disney World had instructed her on proper clothing to wear while on the Humunga Cowabunga slide. The risk of injury to a rider's genitalia and internal organs can be eliminated by using shorts or other protective clothing to act as a barrier and to prevent clothing or water from being forced inside his or her body when slammed into the pool of water at the end of the slide, the lawsuit says. Disney does not instruct riders to wear protective clothing, does not make such protective shorts available to riders, and does not warn riders of the risk of injury if protective clothing is not worn while using the slide. I don't know if I want to be using the Disney loan shorts while going down a
whole other issue.
That seems a lot more injurious.
I didn't get a wedgie, but now I have pubic lice. Cool.
Oh,
thanks, guys. Like
you.
After Emma's thrilling ride down the slide, the lawsuit said that she experienced immediate and severe pain internally, and when she stood up, blood rushed from between her legs. The lawsuit says Emma was immediately rushed to the hospital where she, quote, suffered severe and permanent bodily injury, including severe vaginal lacerations, a full thickness laceration, causing plaintiff's bowel to protrude through her abdominal wall and damage to her internal organs. Oh my God!
From
that
the
is
water?
I guess you can say that is an injurious wedgie. Jesus.
Holy shit.
Oh my God. Couple is asking for at least, now that I read that, they really buried that at the end of the fucking thing. They make all these jokes.
Only 50,000?
At least
seem
it
like
says.
a lot at all. It seems like they're saying 50,000, or if you offer us like a Disney World Fast Pass, we'll take that. Like whatever.
Those might even cost 50,000 nowadays.
That's what I'm saying. And also, why did she wait 4 years to file this lawsuit?
It takes time.
That's just as soon as she was able to stand up to walk to a lawyer's office.
Her
She's
vagina
been
only
bedridden
now
since?
recovered.
Christ.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh my God.
Brutal. Oh.
At first I thought this was a dumb story, but now I feel bad for her. It's terrible.
But 50,000 seems extremely reasonable. Like, why wouldn't Disney just be like, okay, sure, here, and then it's not even a news story because they just accept it right away.
This will cost them more than 50,000 in legal fees. For Disney, you know, like just big. 50,000 of them is like finding a quarter in the couch.
Yes,
but they're still loath to give it up, I would say.
I hear you. It would set a precedent for sure, Darren. They don't want anybody coming and suing them for 50 grand. With that said, I'd like to introduce my new 50 grand Disney World lawsuit. No, I don't. I've never been to Disney World.
It's their fault you have the third butt cheek.
Mm.
You went on that teacup ride one time.
Well, it was like a Disney. It was a Disney ad that I slipped on the stairs. So that's what made me fall and hurt my butt. My butt.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
My butt, like my wife, but my butt.
I get it.
All right.
I tried.
No, I appreciate the effort.
Right.
Come on.
My ass is gorgeous. It's true.
Well, then you have nothing to sue over.
And
I have curly ass hairs.
Oh, still?
I guess. Why would it change now?
Maybe he has them straightened. He goes to a salon. Rob? Or maybe he shaves them all, waxes. No?
Nope.
No. Are you pulling up a picture of your ass?
Oh,
here?
No, I am not.
Oh, wait, is it Ron Jeremy?
It's been a minute since we've been Jeremy bombed.
I just reminded him. Fuck. Shouldn't have done that.
I'm not going to share on Jeremy, but I am going to share this exciting story from our neighborous state, our neighbor state, New Jersey.
The man is facing several charges after crashing his car into a police station, all while blasting the Guns N' Roses song "Welcome to the Jungle."
While it was all caught on camera, the song was not. Police said the man intentionally drove his car into the building.
See, this guy kind of looks like you.
He's
almost
way skinnier than me. No.
Yeah, that's true.
And he looks like he has shaved his head, but he still has a full hairline. I am way cleaner on top than this guy. No, this guy's doing way better than me.
So this guy crashes his car. First of all, his sunroof is open, which seems like a bad thing when you're crashing your car. Gets out of the car. Cops are all befuddled, and he has his arms in the air like he's victorious. He's like, I did it.
The suspect now faces charges including terrorism, which carries a maximum sentence of life in prison. Authorities say he previously crashed his car into the garage of another home before slamming his car into the police station.
I wouldn't even draft this guy in a terrorism draft. He would be a free agent going into the regular season. Get out.
He's like a streaming guy.
Yeah. Just pick him up if your main terrorist is taking the week off.
Yeah, exactly. Or you need that sixth bombing for a week.
Yeah. Maybe if he's got a really friendly matchup.
Yeah.
Rob?
I'm trying to say, I think there might be a little tag at the end of this too with a little more.
I think he's even below that, Sid. I think it's like taking a punter in a baseball league. It's just like, it's not even in the discussion. Just like Guns N' Roses, man.
Get more great ABC7 content by.
Hi, Mark.
No.
Can we get to the point here, Mark?
Is that Pert Hapley?
Yeah.
No. That's the story.
That's a pretty cool dude. We don't know why he did it. He just thought it would be fun.
He doesn't have any manifesto, you're saying?
Here's another local news story. Maybe they'll provide a little more.
Oh, come on.
Got on camera, a man deliberately crashed his SUV into a police station in New Jersey. You just saw it right there. Unbelievable video. He also crashed that same car into a home earlier in the day.
Oh,
wow.
One officer narrowly
He's a serial
escapes
crasher.
being hit by the vehicle. Luckily,
Look at that. Pause it, Rob, please. Look at
This
keeping kids safe makes sense to us. Right in front of the car, destroying the office.
Love it.
By the way, we know one man who is a huge Guns N' Roses fan, and that's Axel.
Mm-hmm.
Did he do
Was
this?
that him?
Oh, is that him?
Yeah.
I don't think he would do this.
He's got time on his hands now. Maybe he's just driving around Jersey looking for things to destroy.
We don't see his full face, and
he's too much of a pacifist, I think.
Do these stories list the guy's name, the offender?
No.
They always said they interviewed the people in the neighborhood. I thought he was a pacifist.
The New Jersey man
would never have expected this.
We only know him to listen to James Taylor. He's very chill. I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, he's listening to this aggressive music. He's crashing his car.
Aggressive.
A man identified as John Hargreaves.
Guilty.
Hargreaves. Hargreaves. Why identify him at all? Give him some privacy, please.
Well, now he gets free Guns N' Roses tickets for the rest of his life.
I
think
hope
this
at
is the
least.
rule. It's like that band Rocket from the Crypt had that thing, like if you get a tattoo of their logo, you get free admission to their shows for the rest of your life. This is what Guns N' Roses does. They're a bigger band, so it's got to be a higher gate for entry.
Yeah.
If you crash your car into a police station while listening to one of our albums.
Unfortunately, there was a fine print that you had to run over a cop, so he just wasted.
God damn it!
Just wasted it.
I blame Bumblefoot for that.
Faces 30 years to life in prison.
Oh,
my
God.
of the terrorism charge. That seems a little silly.
Can we start a GoFundMe for him for his legal defense?
Yeah. Let's start a Patreon. Let's take over Lord Miles's Patreon and funnel all the money to this guy.
I mean, maybe it's just a big terrorist fund they can all share.
Would GoFundMe allow that? I think they might put a stop to that.
Do you mean to the car crashing guy or anything like that?
Anything like that.
Yeah.
Oh, too bad.
More like no fun me.
Right.
Motherfuckers.
Listen, if crashing cars into police stations isn't fun.
He seemed like he was having a great fucking time.
Yes. The guy's having the time of
Victimless
his
crime.
life. Even after they apprehend him and they put his arms behind his back, he was still like kind of bouncing around.
He was doing it behind the back air guitar at that point.
Exactly.
If anything, I think Axel should be the one paying for this guy's lawyer.
Yes.
Come on. Come on, Axel.
Wait, Axel Rosenberg or Axel Rose?
Axel Rose.
Oh.
He has far more money than Rosenberg.
Do we know that for sure? Only one of them is Jewish.
True statement. I think. Wait, is Axl Rose Jewish? I started wondering after you said that.
Maybe he converted.
Axl Rose hasn't even commented on this. Unbelievable.
On being Jewish?
That's right. No wishes of happy Rosh Hashanah.
Self-hating Jew.
Do they still do the Golden Gods Awards, Rob?
Sadly, no.
Yeah. So I was going to say it would be fun if you could show up one year and just ask everybody on the black carpet if they're Jewish, and that's the only question you ask them.
Why?
Just because it's weird. That's all.
Walking. Wait, what?
Read Walking Mirror's thing.
Yeah,
It's
Walking
hilarious.
Mirror. He says, Rob, have you tried Brunzelian Jiu-Jitsu? It is from the Minnesota. Walking Mirror, I cannot say I've tried Brunzelian Jiu-Jitsu.
Mr. Jim Brunzeller, he's from Minnesota.
But that is a very good joke.
Better than nothing.
Cheap Jew Russia.
That's his comment on Axl Rose.
Rob, do you ever, like, when you're sparring, do the Iron Sheik voice to your opponent just to confuse them?
Give me an example.
I don't know. You're just trash talking them during the match, calling them no good motherfuckers, and you're gonna make them tap and be humble.
No trash talking.
Come on.
If anything, I do the opposite. I'm always like, oh wow, that was good. Oh, you really got me.
You're not getting this thing down, Rob. Come on. Yeah, really.
But typically there's no talking. It's just grunting and breathing.
That's what I'm saying. If you busted out a Sheik impression in the middle, it would throw them off so much you would win. They'd be laughing or they'd be confused, and you just get the drop on them.
It's true. They wouldn't know what to
do. It.
It requires too much thought. I'm too early in my journey to be able to do that because I'm so focused on
it's like improv.
What's happening to me right now. Yeah. Right. Like exactly. It's like improv. So I need to have more reps in so all of the moves become more second nature so that I could devote brain power to then doing my Sheik impression. Because right now I'm still
within a spar, there's got to be like a second of downtime where you're just like a rest hold kind of situation. You know
but the downtime, the downtime is when the thinking happens. That's when I'm thinking, what limb of mine can I use to put pressure on him, or what limb of mine are they going to put in a submission that I need to protect myself? There's no time, Sid. There's just no time.
You're making this sound way more complicated than it is.
Yeah. What if you
just
start
haven't been on the mats, guys? You don't know.
You're Iron Sheik. Like you go into it as you are Iron Sheik. So there's nothing to think about. You're just starting from that.
It's method. It's just method. Yes. Maybe I would be even better since I'm an Olympian. It's funny. I actually was talking to somebody about the Iron Sheik.
What if you wore Iron Sheik boots
jiu-jitsu
for the match?
Well, no. Everyone's barefoot. Grow my nails out enough so that they loop.
Oh dear.
It is kind of cool though because I'm at the point now where people all know that I'm a wrestling fan. So any knowledge of wrestling that they have, they try to share with me.
Oh, that seems backwards. I would be embarrassed to share it with someone who knows it intimately. You know.
No, because they're trying to bond, like connect with me. Like, oh hey, for example, somebody was like, oh, I don't really watch it that much anymore, but I just heard Ric Flair on Joe Rogan, and that guy's crazy or whatever, and then they'll be talking about him or Hogan. So it's really the Joe Rogan experience is really bringing me closer to my BJJ.
I thought it was going to be more like, hey, did you hear that the Ultimate Warrior died and they used Kerry Von Erich, or they'll just give you lame urban legends?
Oh, no. Well, so my jiu-jitsu coach was like, oh, I just heard Hulk Hogan on Joe Rogan. Did you hear? You should listen. It's great. And I didn't have the heart to be like, I don't want to listen because it's probably all lies.
Right,
it's like,
exactly.
People talking to each other.
Yeah. Like, but I appreciate that they're trying to connect with me over an interest of mine. So I try very hard to like engage and not be like an elitist about my wrestling knowledge, but rather like kind of softly break it to them like, oh, you got to be careful because this guy's a known fibber, is what I said about Hogan.
Of course.
He likes to fib. So and they were like, oh, I mean, they're wrestlers, of course. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. But but did you hear about his Andre the Giant or not? Still, it's good. Anyway, if you have a jiu-jitsu gym in your area and you need a good workout where you could lose 30 pounds in 6 months, try jiu-jitsu. It works.
Or just starve yourself.
Yeah. I'm doing his jiu-jitsu shit. The fuck out of here. Bunch of
Jiu-jitsu
clowns in costume.
And intermittent fasting is what's been working for me.
Bunch of fucking clowns in costumes.
I feel like I do intermittent fasting sort of just by accident. Like I'm not trying to do it, but I just don't eat during the day until it's like 6 p.m.
I do it, but overnight. I typically don't eat from like 11 p.m. to 8 a.m.
But that's it.
Fast.
I know
you're joking, but that's how you're supposed to. You're just supposed to start later. Yeah,
supposed to do that and then tack on another 8 hours.
Oh God.
Yeah,
that's like the whole fucking day at that point.
Yeah. What the hell? 16. It's supposed to be 16 off, 8 on. You're supposed to eat all your food in an 8-hour window, and then sleep 8 hours, and then not eat for 8 hours.
But in that 8-hour window, I could eat as much as I want.
No, you should. You could theoretically, but you're supposed to watch certain things, like don't have lots of carbs
or sugar. Yeah,
right. Because because that'll really kill your diet, but more the psychological aspect. When you start eating lots of sugar, you want more sugar. Your blood sugar goes up, and then it makes you crave. It makes you crave more sugar, and you eat that, so it breaks your diet that way.
Yeah, but that's basically essentially what I've been doing. Just because my class is a little later in the morning, it starts at 9:30, so okay. I don't end up eating until noon or a little later sometimes, and then I go to bed. I've been going to bed at like 9. So
Jesus Christ!
I don't know what's wrong with you, bro.
Keep every few months you'd like knock off another hour.
That's true.
Eventually, you're gonna be going to bed at like 4 in the afternoon.
I've been waking up at like 5:30 now. Oh. It's been brutal. I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna loop back around eventually.
All right, exactly. I usually
go backwards and
I usually I go to bed like maybe 4 or 5. A little bit less since I've been like going to school on campus. I have morning classes, but. Like for a while there, I was going to bed like 5:36 or 4. So Rob would just text me at 4:30, and I'm like, "What?" And I just answer right away, and we just have a whole conversation. Yeah. But we're on opposite ends of that whole thing and meeting. And I was like, right. And I'm so bleary-eyed at that point, and then I don't realize till I wake up, like, why the fuck is Rob awake at 4:30 in the morning? What are you doing?
Well, 4:30 is like that would be having an emergency poop. Oh, that's like so that's like a good half hour, 40 minutes of just sitting on the throne. But yes, I have noticed that as well, Darren, that like I wake up and I have messages from you and it's like, oh, an hour ago.
Yeah. That's just
and it's just like my day started.
I've been going to bed a little earlier because I have a Monday and a Tuesday class that are very early in the morning that I kind of regret, but not really. I mean, I'm plowing through it, but it's just I have to actually be physically on campus, which is rough. At like 8:30. Sorry.
Yeah, how did we used to do that? School used to start at like 8. I don't get it.
Well, I didn't. I dropped out because I was a fuck up. I would drop half my classes every single semester because I couldn't take. I just had 20s ADHD. Like I just couldn't do it. I could do some of it, and the other classes had to bite the bullet.
I would show up, and then I just end up falling asleep in the middle of all my classes.
I haven't done that yet. But these classes are intense because like I'm towards the end of my degree, and it's like I got to make a fucking movie every 2 weeks. I got to make a movie, like a 5-minute movie, in this one class. Documentary class.
And is this just starting? Have you already made some?
I made 3 movies so far.
What are the subjects?
One of them was about the labor struggles of Major League Baseball. We had to make that prompt was like she gives you a prompt,
okay,
and then you gotta like make a movie about satisfying this prompt. So the prompt was make a camera-less documentary. This was the first. The other classes are still taxiing on the runway. Some of them now, like in terms of work. This one's like 1 weekend. We got to make a movie. Okay, but like existing footage so I went and found a bunch of footage of baseball players, and it's kind of a brief history, like a Ken Burns, but not boring, about the labor struggles. And I was like 3 minutes. Then the next one we had to do find somebody with a skill, and then do a little interview with them or a documentary, a 1.5 minute documentary about them.
You talked to Rob about his jujitsu?
I should have. It didn't occur to me. Now I got this guy who's a court officer and also used to be a clown.
What?
I thought that was too.
Sounds like he's still a clown,
right? No. Well, the story, the prompt was take the skill and record them doing the skill, and then extrapolate that into saying something about either society or how they do their job, their current job or whatever, and find some meaning in it. And I did actually wound up. Like it wound up great. I found out something that I was not expecting, like he takes his clowning into the court officer job because these kids, he's in family court, so the kids are being separated from their families, and
he shoots the gun at the kid, but water comes out. Like
he'll like he did face painting a couple of times, or he doesn't dress up as a clown, but he brings his clown personality, and kind of these kids are going through this horrific time, and he'll sort of like alleviate a little bit, I guess.
A literal clown in a costume.
Yes, fucking clowns in costumes.
Bunch of fucking clowns in costumes.
And the last
one, use that drop in the documentary.
I should have. No, I didn't have time. This is very quick things. Like
you got to do like a jokey version of all of these that you could throw drops into.
Yeah, I should.
Like a gag reel.
I'll recut everything.
And what was the third one?
The third one was we were supposed to record like one person over here and one person over here, like debating, like not together, or not necessarily. This is very open ended. Like she just loves, like this professor loves like subverting things, so she doesn't want you to do a David Attenborough type documentary. Like she hates that kind of thing. So anything you do that's outside the box is fine. But the prompt said, do like have two people argue two different sides of a point, and like just present each of them briefly, and then take a side and represent it and say, I agree with this through your filmmaking rather than just saying it. So I actually went and got two of my friends they're kind of like Peg and Al Bundy, like they love each other dearly, but they speak in that love language of hating each other, and then they kiss and make up, and it comes through very much that they love each other. So I got them to argue. I just said, I went to a block party that they were at, and then she said, come by, we got food. And I stayed there for like 8 hours. And when we were done, I said, can you just argue for me? And they were like, yeah, sure. So they put the camera on them.
Did you pick a topic, or?
I said, pick any topic you like. The only restriction is that it has to be, there can't be something you did in fucking Breezy Point last week. Like it has to be.
She made pollo guisao.
Yeah, that's how'd you know? Holy shit! No, it has to be something the audience would understand rather than something from your personal. That's all. Anything other than that, go for it. And they argued about him not being in shape and falling apart, and he's like age 44, and he's like a 70-year-old man, and he told her she looks like a Boston cream. So who are you to talk to me about fucking being in shape? And I had them argue back and forth. But it came out a little blurry. I was using this like brand new. I rented a camera from the school that's like this fucking $5,500 camera, and I'm like kind of a hack with the camera. So I didn't. There's these the focus element of it is like a spaceship. Like so I can't I'm not good at it. So it would have been better to just shoot it with my phone, I guess, because the way it came out doesn't look great. But I'm hoping the content is good enough.
Sounds hilarious.
It's like I'm so bad at edit. Like when you take a film degree, like I'm in film studies. Is this boring to the audience? I don't want to know.
We are the audience, and we are entertained.
I take film studies, but like you have a concentration in film studies, so you got to do all this other shit. You got to do the business of film. You take a few classes in that, and editing and post production and all this shit. So I'm doing those now because you have to do that to get your degree, but I suck at it. It's kind of helping me. Like I don't want to do any of this editing shit, but I do want to speak the language of other film people if you have to interact with them. So it helps. But I'm such a hack. Like this class is, because this is an editing class, it's a post-production class. All the kids are like post-production majors. So they suck at content. Like they can't write, they can't do, but the thing looks beautiful. It looks like it's just so wonderfully cut. And I'm not dissing them that their content is bad. It's just like that's not their field of expertise, So I'm the opposite. So I'm a good writer, and all my stuff is like great content, hilarious content, but then it kind of looks like shit,
But now you're meeting all these good editors. It's good networking for like in the future if they need someone who makes content. If you need someone to edit stuff now, these people.
It is, and I have a good rapport with a lot of they all want me to help them touch up stuff and like help them write stuff, So I've had like people approach me, so and take a look at this. Is this funny? Is this good?
That's awesome.
So I'm enjoying I'm enjoying that class, but it's really kicking my ass. First of all, it's 8:30 in the morning, which I don't like, but it's very hard. This is like easily the hardest class I've been in since being back. The professor is so great. I have to show you. She's like a fairly famous like documentarian in New York and an activist. Like she was an AIDS activist in the 80s and stuff. She's really cool, but she's very manic and hyper, and like she's like, but knows her shit. Like she's just on point. She's really, really cool, and I'm enjoying it, but it's hard to like know what she wants. So it's
well, I'm sure as the course goes on, you will hopefully figure that out more and more. Now, let me ask you a follow-up question on this third documentary. So you said you had to film two people debating, and then at the end you had to weigh in and pick a side. Yes. Now, the people debating were arguing over who's more out of shape and unattractive. So you at the end had to be like, actually, the wife is worse looking. Or what?
That's a good question. Well, no, the way I framed it was that although they were arguing that, what they were really arguing about was like the importance of being like doing exercise and eating correctly versus the importance of I want to enjoy the years I have left and sit on the couch and watch football. Right. So I kind of did like kind of cheated there. Like I almost sort of didn't. I let them pick a side more than me getting it picking a side. But I think the way it's framed, she comes off looking better.
Okay.
In her argument, because she definitely loves him and she doesn't want him to deteriorate. And he, you know, not to give too much information away about who I'm talking about, but I wrestled with him. He was one of the people I wrestled with back in the day, and his body's kind of beat up from that and playing sports all the time forever. He still plays softball, even though he's kind of got a lot of injuries. So, like, I think she just cares about him and doesn't. This is one of the most in love couples I've ever seen. They both were in horrible marriages. He has kids with this woman that he always talks about, calls her a cunt, hates her, and then and they both met and later in life in their 40s, and I've never seen two people more in love. I've seen other people on that level, but they're like the most in love I've ever seen of anybody.
That's great.
But that's just how they talk to each other. It's just weird. I don't know. It really is a Peg and Al Bundy situation.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, when she said the debate, they're the first people I thought of. I was like, I got to go to this block party and bring a camera with me.
Nice.
I got so much footage that I couldn't use because it was like a 90-second project. You know, I got like 10 minutes of footage of them like talking shit about everything, like everything.
You got to show that to me and Rob at some point. That seems very.
I'm still a little embarrassed at how blurry it came out.
Oh, whatever. We're not going to judge you on technique.
I think I'm very good at like framing the shot, but it just I couldn't operate that camera. Like I'm a hack with the controls and all that.
So they lent you one from the school?
Yeah, you can rent it out. You just got to specify a time you're bringing it back, and you bring it back, and then they start charging you out the wazoo if it's not brought back in time, and also you're on the hook for the camera if you break it or lose it. So I was really paranoid that whole week.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I bet. Could you take out any insurance on it or anything like that? Like, could you put that
I don't know. I like they didn't present that to me as an option.
Yeah.
So maybe I could have looked into it, but I was just kind of trying to get it done, so I just did it.
I would always be freaked out. Like that's how we would shoot early metal injection things as well. I remember I loaned down the camera from the Brooklyn College media department for like a CBGB show. I was just
my God.
I don't know if I should do this again.
I remember you left the camera on the train once, right? But that was metal.
Yeah, that was my personal camera. Okay. No, that was.
Oh, it's your personal camera?
Yeah.
I thought it was Frank's camera. I didn't know you owned it.
No. That's mine. This was before metal injection.
Oh, really?
That happened. Yeah.
I thought that was you were going to a metal injection show. Wow, I had that completely wrong.
No.
Maybe Rob's lost more than one camera.
That was when we went to the doghouse. Oh, Frank lost the metal injection.
Oh, it was a Frank that did it. See, he's so obsessive with cameras. I just thought he would have it in his butthole or something like that. Never lose it.
I wasn't there. I was already home. He was coming home on the train or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was in our first year as well. That's true.
Okay.
I forgot about that. But I forgot about it because it wasn't me.
Right. Well, I'm sure if I figured he'd remind you for the next 17 years.
Yeah.
Right. See, I let it go. I didn't remind him.
Sure.
I didn't even remember it until you just brought it up. What else is going on in the world? What silliness is going on in the world, I should say. We don't need to be talking about serious issues.
Mm-hmm. Like people calling each other Boston creams.
That's a term of endearment, Darren.
It's true.
You're from Boston and you make me cream.
Apparently, Sharon Osbourne.
Speaking of silly.
Says she's too skinny now.
I'm scared I'm going to have to hear Rob's Sharon voice now.
Oh, we
Sharon?
have to.
Ozzy, I took too much Ozzy. What's that drug? Ozempic. Ozempic.
I don't know what that is. What's Ozempic?
It is the wonder weight loss drug. That it's apparently just people are losing the weight and keeping it off.
I never heard of this one.
Oh yeah, it's like
it's very it's relatively new. Like the last 6 months, it's come out. I think that
it's not originally a weight loss drug,
right? Yeah, I think it was originally like an anti-anxiety thing or something like that, like a mood. There was some other intention for it, and then they realized that it's actually a really good weight loss drug. But the thing is, with any trendy drug.
It was for diabetes.
Okay, there we go. With any trendy drug, there's abuse. Like people who don't necessarily need a weight loss drug started taking it, like Sharon Osbourne, and now she is, quote, too skinny. She's lost 30 pounds, which someone at her weight probably shouldn't be losing 30 pounds. It gets unhealthy.
She's all lips now. That's it.
I mean, her lips walking around.
Yeah.
Let me show you this photo, and you're not that off.
I'm scared. Oh.
Well, I mean, they all look hideous in their own way. I don't know what.
I think Kelly has done. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was a video of this, but Kelly has has had some wonderful plastic surgery.
Kelly was the one that looked the best out of all. I thought she was an attractive woman.
She looked like a human at the very least. Now she looks like a sad Victorian doll.
Yeah, she was cute. I'm not telling you she was like a 10 or anything, but I mean, she was cute. Now she looks very weird.
Yeah. Now Jack might be the most normal looking one.
He's like a regular guy. He looks like if Ozzy never went into music and became a weirdo,
Yeah. He did my trick of looking like he's in his late 40s when he was a kid. So now he looks the same.
He did a lot of drugs back then, and now he's sober. So I think that's also the big difference.
Sure he is.
I mean,
at least LA sober.
I kind of buy it. I kind of buy it with him because he looks vastly different than when he was fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah, he looks sober. Hold on here.
Looks boring.
Let's clip.
Ozzy's having a go at me because he says I look like Mrs. Reagan. So,
Nancy Reagan.
Nancy calls me Nancy Reagan all the time. So,
poor Ozzy.
It's just time.
Look,
to
Sharon
stop.
and Piers Morgan reunited.
I didn't actually want to go this thin, but it just happened, and I'll probably put it all on again soon.
That's the clip. Thank you.
She's very frightening looking.
They have a podcast out. They're coming for our territory, folks.
Oh, no.
The Osbournes podcast.
Have
All
you been
four
listening?
of them do a podcast.
Is it good?
No. I haven't been listening. I see the
it's not good.
I see the reels on Instagram. They show. I forget which one of them I follow. I think Jack.
This is me after watching that show.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut the fuck up.
I just love that it's like Ozzy can't tour. How else could we monetize him?
That's exactly what it is.
Put a microphone bring the microphone to the bedroom. You gotta milk this guy for all he's worth while he's still here.
They got mortgage payments to do.
Yeah.
To make a sex tape.
Oh my god!
Ozzy could talk about how a fat pig he is, and he just ate a chicken palm.
Well, no, the sex tape was like a few years ago. That was all that.
But that was
that drama with the hairdresser.
But it wasn't the two of them together.
It wasn't the tape.
It's fair.
And it wasn't Sharon and Ozzy.
I'm saying they've run through that narrative already in the gossip pages. Is what I'm getting.
They should get on Chaturbate.
Oh my god!
What would you do?
What about an Ozzy OnlyFans? Let's get it going.
Sid, if you saw Sharon in the lobby on Chaturbate, what would you do?
No.
Is there a lobby? I don't know. I just made that up.
There's like a main page with you get like a grid.
How do you? Oh, you get like a visual representation, like a thumbnail of Okay.
Like it's like a screenshot from the last 3 seconds of their stream, essentially.
Okay. Fair enough.
And then you could pick away.
I'm just picturing like Sharon now, like the Grim Reaper, like she's in a nightgown, floating into the bed next to poor Ozzy, who can't.
Don't forget to leave tips. Tip for requests, okay?
Oh
I will not show titty without 40 tokens, Ozzy.
You see, I thought the whole thing was just going to be her scolding him. Like it's like a cuckold video.
Yeah.
I will not wear a Lovett. I've made Ozzy wear it, so anytime you tip, Ozzy's Lovett will be activated. Ozzy, you left the bleeding of garbage can open again in the kitchen. You turd. You turd, you lowly turd. 20 tokens for PM. If you want to PM Ozzy, you have to leave 20 tokens.
Oh
Man,
my God.
that is a very grim mental image I have now of Ozzy and Sharon doing a couple show on Chaturbate.
Yeah.
She's just like a wraith, like the ghost in Ghostbusters in the opening scene, just hovering over him.
Exactly that.
Ozzy! Are you close, Ozzy? Ozzy, are you close? They need to tip 100 more tokens before you come, Ozzy. I'm picking you from the spirit realm.
Oh
Put the seat down, Ozzy. You thought I was dead. I'm still here to tell you not to piss on the bleeding seat.
One of the dogs walks into the bedroom, takes a poop. Oh. Jack is the moderator.
Might as well be. Everyone's jacking it.
Oh.
To Ozzy. Ozzy being henpecked.
He doesn't have the strength, sadly.
Me plastic surgeon accidentally put me vagina on me face.
Oh my God.
Isn't that sexy, Ozzy? I didn't want to bloody lawsuit. Shut up!
At one point, he fucks her with a Grammy. Does he ever win a Grammy, Rob? Can you confirm?
He's in the Hall of Fame. He could fuck her with that plaque.
Yes, he's won quite a few Grammys.
Okay, so there you go.
Solo or Black Sabbath? He might not have them if they're from Black Sabbath.
Let's see.
Stop bringing Tommy Iommi over here to fuck me with the Grammy, Ozzy.
Well, he can't finger her. He's missing too many fingers.
He looks like a dehydrated Howard Stern. I don't want to have sex with him.
God.
He has 5 Grammy wins, 3 for Sabbath, 2 for solo.
Quintuple penetration, Ozzy. Two in me vagina, one in me butthole, and one in me nostril.
Wow.
Is that if has there been quadruple or like triple penetration? 2 in the stink, 1 in the pink?
Sure.
Probably.
It's very hard logistically for the men
I was
to
going to
stand.
say.
Yes, I have seen that. They basically have to bear hug each other. The 2 men in
Yeah.
the ass have to be very close and close penis.
Well, I mean, yeah, exactly. You have to be very good. Yeah, I've only seen it once in this Brazilian porn, and it was very much these gymnasts essentially like contorting their body. These gymnasts with like, you know, humongous, comedically large penises, contorting themselves in such a way that no mere mortal could possibly do
everything Brazilian with you, Rob? Your porn, your jiu-jitsu, it's all you're waxing.
I like the tan men.
There was a time in the 90s, I feel, and a porn trend was to do like more and more penetration at the same time.
Yeah,
I feel like they were going for that. I don't know how it was in gay porn. In straight porn, they were just trying to get as many dicks into one person as possible at the same time, not like a gangbang.
That seems like a pretty timeless pursuit. I feel like they're still going for
I noticed it drop off when I was still watching porn. I feel like they went with more like, I would see like more one-on-one or like discreet like gangbangs, but not like where they're in the
everybody patiently waits their turn.
Yeah, there was a bad trend. There was like a lot of guys. A lot of that video was just dudes standing in a corner trying to get hard.
I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
But it's not. They're not shooting that. The guy's just in the background while the girl's getting fucked, and you just see these dudes with limp dicks. Like, it's hilarious.
I mean, it's like that in the gay porn too. The good ones, the guys in the background are all like hanging out with each other.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
and they're making out and like blowing each other and stuff.
Right.
But
I didn't think of that aspect that the actual performers could also be like the fluffers.
Yeah,
right, exactly. The lame ones are the ones where, as you're mentioning, it's like they're waiting for a train just with their dick out,
looking at their watch.
But some of the straight porns would have like non-featured players. Women would like fuck the guys on the side, and while the main gangbang.
Oh, I see. That's smart.
Yeah. Or they'd just be sucking guys off, like roaming around the room, like table service.
Taylor Jade asks, "What did I walk into? I heard lip D's and trains. You walked into
you know exactly what you walked into.
You walked into RAP Livecast.
Yes."
Ozzy, respect my boundaries. Don't fuck me with that Cable Ace Award. It's too pointy. Too pointy, Ozzy.
My favorite is also like it can get. This is why I don't like gangbangs or orgies. Like I don't like. I enjoy them watching them cinematically, but not to get off to. Just because.
Yeah, exactly. Fire of the Sun. What the fuck?
Because it's just you like I get so turned on by like a moment and then they cut to something else and it's like, oh, I'm not turned on by this.
You
What's
need the intimacy.
On? Yeah, exactly.
100%. I agree with that.
But like sometimes there are these like side stories that make them worth watching. Like I remember I was watching a gangbang that was like at a gay for pay studio. So some of the guys identify as straight, so they don't normally fuck dudes. And so it's like a train of guys plowing this bottom, and this bottom is taking these like big 8-inch dicks, and then this one guy comes and he's clearly nervous and not fully erect, and he starts pounding him, and you could see the bottom being like,
"What's happening?
Next?"
And then the Sandman from the Apollo comes and what?
that guy was gone for the rest of the scene. It's so and so like
the manager comes out and points to the bullpen.
That's happened. I've seen that before.
Wow,
that's
not nice. I feel like in the straight gangbangs, the woman is usually I've seen exceptions to this, but they're usually like respectful to the less well hung participants. Like they try to put on a show for them. They don't like roll their eyes or whatever.
Right. Well, it wasn't necessarily a size. Yeah, it wasn't necessarily a size issue. It was a level of interest issue. Right. Yes.
I got you. But still, even then, make the guy feel comfortable.
Yeah, you're not helping matters. But to say this person has just taken like 8 dicks, and then the 9th dick it's like, let's move it along, folks. Right. That was kind of his.
Right. I understand the feeling is valid, but you're an actor, like.
And also, honestly, though, it's really on the editors. They should have just cut that little moment.
Too.
Cut that little moment out.
There's plenty of blame to go around.
Yeah, because now here I am distracted, being like, what happened to that guy? Is he okay?
Yeah, I want to know. I want to know.
That could be a whole new series they do, like a spin-off of the gangbang movie. Is like this guy's career after he fails in the gangbang.
Right.
Like he's trying to make a name for himself.
At the very least, they need like a confessional, like on The Office, like the guy can go
yes.
I don't know. The guy was attractive. I just couldn't get it up. I don't know what it is.
Look, it was a long day. It's like a 7-hour shoot. You got to be hard. Then you're not. Then you're hard. Then you're not. It's just my dick just was tired.
Way more into that than the plowing.
Yes.
Even in a straight gangbang, I would say.
This is a new. There should be like a Big Brother, but it's a porn house. Like everyone's shooting a porn.
Or Kitchen Nightmares. It was bloody hell. Look at the condition of this gangbang room.
This is the worst vagina I've ever seen.
It's raw. Bloody raw.
Rob, could you read the comment we just got? It's very pertinent.
You could kill somebody.
Like Megadeth.
What was it?
Wubfrub says, I like Megadeth.
Oh, cool. I like Megadeth, too. We make fun of Dave Mustaine a lot, but I like Megadeth.
I like Megadeth.
Before I forget, RIP today in honor of that Disneyland story earlier stands for Really Injured Pussy.
Oh. Said you can heal it. Use your healing powers.
I'll try.
Let's talk about guess we should mention our Patreon.
Yeah.
$5 a month gets you access to our Patreon. You could show your support for the show. Get a little extra content, 2 bonus episodes a month.
Or if it was something like this episode, 2 boners episodes.
At the top of the month, we just posted a new bonus episode. We do a watch along of the Dave Grohl horror film Studio 666. I guess the Foo Fighters horror film.
Would you say that was the best movie we've done a watch along of? I would say it's up there, like the best legitimately good movie.
Yeah, I guess because typically when we do a watch along, it's of something we know is going to be horrible. Though I guess back in the day we did like the Declines of Western Civilization.
Yeah, that's a good. All right, so the best narrative.
The best narrative.
Yeah.
Hellaware was probably number 2.
Yeah, a very distant number 2.
Yeah,
but lots of great stuff in there. Over 3 years, nearly 4 years of, or actually 4 years now of bonus content in there. Lots of great stuff. Lots of watch-alongs. We have like black metal documentaries, comedies. We do listen-alongs to classic albums, like from Metallica, Guns N' Roses, and Megadeth. And every week, Sid has a column where he recommends what TV shows to watch for that following week. Also, you get a nice little badge on your Discord if you're in our free chat room on Discord. Everyone gets to know you're a patron. So you can get on our Discord at riplivecast.com. Wubfrub says, I'm broke. That's okay, Wubfrub. If you can't afford to be a patron, just join our Discord. That shows your support in a different way, and you don't have to pay anything. You just come hang out with us in our chat room. We appreciate all of our fans at any price level.
And it's one of the... Oh, God, sorry.
Go ahead.
There's a lot of unprecedentedly host interaction in that video, in that Discord. We, compared to other Discords of other shows, we interact with our fans almost constantly in there. The 3 of us, Rob used to be a little bit less active. Now Rob is just as active as the 2 of us, I would say.
That's right. All of us are very online, and so we're checking in constantly and replying and interacting. So if you want to hang out with us, come to our Discord. And if you want to throw us a few extra bonesies, $10 a month makes you a top Livecast fan. You get a shout out at the end of the show, which is in just a few minutes. And before that, I want to talk about our Spotify playlist. And we have a new perk now where every week we're going to be including a random patron in our Spotify playlist. Every week, each of us picks a song, throws it on our Spotify playlist, which we call the RIP Livecast Music Break. And the 4th pick will be from one of you. And, of course, if you want to join in on the fun, you can do so by signing up to our Patreon. So our first guest pick is from Sanskar. And he picks King Woman. No, King Woman. Not Danzig. King Woman with the song I Want to Be Adored.
Which is a cover of the Stone Roses. It's a great song.
And he says that he picked the song because he thinks it turns a chill 90s indie alt song into a sexy doom goth metal song. I'll take it.
Sounds good, honestly. I like that description.
My pick is from Harm's Way. Harm's Way just put out a new album last week called Common Suffering, and it brings the breakdowns. I'm excited that there's like a resurgence of metallic hardcore bands, or what used to be called metalcore bands, but I think that's not quite the description now. But Harm's Way, very consistent new album. It's like 30 minutes of breakdowns and aggressive riffs. If you like that sort of stuff, you'll really be into it. Silent Wolf is my pick. Sid, what did you pick?
Taylor Shade requests Albie Shore for next week. That's awesome. I might have to do that. My pick, there's a new band, or I guess new to me at least, called Open City, which is another one of these hardcore supergroups featuring members of Painted Black, Bridge and Tunnel, Ceremony, Ted Leo and the Pharmacists, all these other great acts. And the song is called Carry Us, and I'd never heard it before this week. And the fucking album came out yesterday. It's fucking great. It's like really, really good post-hardcore with like old school snotty hardcore vocals. It's just, I loved it. I intended to just go into just like quickly skimmed through and pick a song for the playlist, but I ended up listening to the whole fucking album. It was great. If you like hardcore, if you like old hardcore, if you like any of those other bands that I mentioned, you will love this album. Darren?
Well, I played a song by the great Celia Cruz, Queen of Salsa, who we just watched a movie. I don't know if you want me to spoil it for the Patreon. We're going to have a panel discussion about it. And on the soundtrack of that film, she performs a cover of the song I Will Survive.
Oh, it's so good.
And it's all in Spanish. And it's salsified. So I loved it. I never knew the song existed, even though I'm a great fan of Celia Cruz. And I think I might have even played her on the playlist before. I'm not sure. I vaguely remember doing it. But anyway, I love her. Can't play her enough. So she's awesome. And that movie we're going to talk about very shortly. I'm not going to spoil it if you don't want to. We're not revealing it yet. But yeah, Celia Cruz is the best. And I love her.
Nice.
There you have it, folks. That's our show. And we just have our top Livecast fans every week at the end of the show. If you want to throw us $10, top Livecast fans get a shout out at the end of the show. It's right now. And how are we doing these shout outs, folks?
I mean, you sort of have to do it as Sharon Osbourne in her Chaturbate era, don't you?
No. Listen, Eric, if you want me to do that, you have to tip 40 tokens, okay? Benjamin, 10 tokens for PM, Benjamin. No, Dad, I will not start a private chat right now. My room is too active. If you want me to put on Mindy Mays Kipper, tip 25. I'm sorry, I can't read that. You're from where? From Chasseur? From Massachusetts? No, I don't. Sharon doesn't care. Tip for requests. Hugo likes tacos. Well, yes, Sharon's taco is out. Thank you for the tip, Hugo. Here you go. Here you go, Hugo.
Look how you soften when the tip comes. It's less aggressive.
Sorry, Lando Dex, I will not reveal my location. I need a little anonymity on this app. No, Sharon doesn't want a LaCroix. I'm very hydrated.
Oh my God.
Corey and Scotty H, you're too young to be on this website. Go find your parents. Doug, you're a pig man. You've tipped me 1,000 tokens, my word! Ozzy's love sense is going off like crazy!
Oh my God.
The vibrations are too much!
He's having a seizure.
1,000 tokens, you're crazy!
How many dollars is it per token? I never...
I think 1,000 is like 100. It's basically like,
so one token is 10 cents?
Yeah, basically.
Oh.
Something like that. It could be a little more depending on how much you put in. A little more,
That's
a little
what she
less.
said.
Douglas, who are you, Levison? The show is over. I'll be back tomorrow. Thank you to all the tippers. Don't forget to follow.
All right. Now that I've exposed, I know a little too much about Chaturbate. That's the show, folks. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed yourselves. We love you. We kiss you. Bye-bye.